Hi, Tom from bknutrition.com, and in this video I'm going to be talking to Sebastian Bates, who is an entrepreneur and business owner who lives out in Dubai with his family. He's a best-selling author and owner of multiple businesses, and he came to me to build more muscle, and that's exactly what we did. Put on about 4 or 5 kilos of muscle, but he kept his very lean shape and got some really good results. So I hope you enjoy the video, and here's how we did it.
Okay. So welcome, Seb. Thanks for coming on to talk to me about your progress and what we achieved together. Obviously, I know you because we're friends, and we've been working together for what, 4 or 5 months, something like that. Long time. And but people who are watching don't know you. So can you just let us know who you are, what you do, and why you wanted to come with me?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Sebastian Bates, and I live here in Dubai. I run a martial arts organization called the Warrior Academy, which works out of the UK and Dubai, where we essentially work with young people to develop their character. Before moving out to Dubai, I was a professional fighter. So I was living and training on Thai boxing camps a lot in Thailand, where I was fighting professionally over there in full contact Muay Thai. And I was also an extreme sports athlete as well. So a lot of my time was spent living in the mountains in, Italy and in Switzerland, where I was hiking and wingsuit base jumping and all that sort of stuff. So very, very active all my life. Throughout that time, 25 years of martial arts, I've always been training in weights as well. So I've been lifting weights throughout that time since about 14. My time lifting weights has been more focused around functional lifts and performance. So a lot of strength training, that sort of stuff. So typically, lower reps and high weights, just trying to get strength up essentially. So I'd never really focused on aesthetics or trying to increase size. So over the last year, I kind of made it my mission for a new challenge, just to see how big and lean I could get. I was about 75 kilograms. I used to fight down at as low as 68 kilograms in Thai boxing, and then in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu I'd go up to 77 kilograms max. So that was kind of the most my body had been as an adult. So I wanted to see just how far I could push myself. The first 6 months of the year I did on my own, and I went from about 75 to about 80 kilograms before I met you, before I started working with you. And then it got to the stage where it was going great, but I really wanted to kind of step it up a gear just to see, at that stage I lifted a long time. I kind of knew what I was doing quite well. Before this I was also a personal trainer, so I had a good idea of what to do. But like you always say, it's the small percentage changes here and there, and really going for that kind of performance, which is what I wanted to look at. So yeah, and then I was looking for a mentor to kind of take me to the next level. And the same with business, right? I always find that you always need a mentor in whatever it is you're doing, just to have someone to help you cross that next hurdle, that next line, whatever it is you're doing. And so for me, when I thought about who I could work with, I'd obviously seen your stuff on YouTube, on Facebook, through the sort of communities we're both in. It made complete sense to reach out to you. And it just clicked straight away. We got on very well, similar sense of humor, and your approach was very, very different to what I had experienced before. Obviously, living in Dubai, we really enjoy the lifestyle out here. We love food. We love going out to eat. It's like a massive hobby of ours to go out and try different restaurants. To have a good glass of wine with a meal is just quite normal for us. So it was refreshing to work with someone who factored all of that in and didn't want your social life or the things you enjoy to suffer, but actually enhance them by not having any element of guilt, but still getting the same gains that you want to get, which is basically what you're all about and what your book's all about. So yeah, for me, it just clicked straight away with all that.
Cool. So how did the training differ to what you said you were doing strength training before? And obviously when we come in, we started discussing about new ways to train. What was the biggest change that you felt in the training, which is something you maybe never done before?
Well, I think you making me train 8 days a week on legs was the biggest thing.
8 days a week.
I think I think the biggest thing was first of all, it's the way that everything was tracked, right? So in terms of just the training, because obviously the tracking of the diet is a whole separate animal here, but in terms of the training, measuring the heart rate, measuring the calories, measuring the exertion, the effort level in every single workout, and using it as an indicator to make tweaks both in your training but also in your diet. That was the first thing that stood out to me, which I really liked, because I like heading towards targets, right? And when you've got your phone on you with MyZone on, which is measuring your heart rate, and you see it go from yellow to green to gray, you need to get your act together and stop having a rest, right? And get off your phone. So I loved that. There was almost accountability with you the whole way through, which is great. In terms of the actual training, I really enjoyed the exercises that you kind of listed out, the different workouts you had. I started off with I think it was the high volume workout plan. I can't remember what it's called.
Turn up the volume.
Turn up the volume, yeah. And what I loved about that the most, I think, was every single workout was different, right? So I come from this place where I was making my own programs, but it was, right, here's the program. You're doing this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're doing that for the next 6 weeks, right? With you, and since I've actually stopped using your training programs and used all the stuff you've taught me to now make my own. And this is definitely one of the things that I've carried on, right? Which is every single workout's different.
Yeah.
And I never go into the gym and do the same thing anymore, which is really cool because it makes it exciting. I think one of the hardest things is, after doing the same thing for quite a long time, that motivation dips a bit. And I never experienced that. I've always been quite excited to go in the gym and to try the next thing, even if some of the workouts look pretty revolting, but I've done it anyway. So that was the structure of the workouts, how they were measured and how you keep track of it all. And then one of the other things that really stood out to me was the way in which this could just be one of the workouts, I think. I'm not sure which one it was. It could have been the same total volume. But basically, you would train one muscle group primarily on one day, and the next day or 2 days later, even though that muscle's sore, you would train it again to failure. And the idea there would be obviously to recruit some of the secondary muscle fibers, which wouldn't normally get hit. So that was a totally new experience for me because, if your muscles are sore, I'd rarely train them again. I say that, but on Thai boxing camps and stuff, you're training your legs every day, right?
Yeah.
So you're just constantly sore. But one thing I do notice is, as sore as you think you are, your body can do it. Once it's warmed up, you've done one set and you're ready to go again. It's just trying to tell yourself that after a day of squats and the next day you go into leg presses, right? You look up, I'd wake up in the morning and be like, I hope it's not hamstrings because I've just done a whole session of Romanian deadlifts. And the first thing I'm doing today is leg curls. But yeah, so it was, it was the mindset shift. It was the totally different way of looking at high volume training and understanding exactly how much volume I actually needed to grow. And then the way that everything was tracked and everything was kept spontaneous and exciting.
Ah, cool. So yeah, and I remember those texts. I used to get them from you because you're in Dubai. Obviously, you're a few hours ahead of us. So I used to wake up to texts like, my legs. Just like,
yeah, I send you a text at 4 a.m. and I'd be like, Tom, I think there's a mistake in your program. You've got quads primarily on one day, and the next day you want me to do back squats. What's going on? I can't. I'm like limping to the gym. But it's one of those things, and you'll see in the pictures later, like, that I'm talking about it because it was such a big deal, right? And like my legs are just like doubled in size because of it, and it's been incredible. I suffer a lot from arthritis on my ankles, so one of the biggest challenges I had was finding exercises I can actually do, and typically, if I was going to do some exercises like normal exercises with my legs, like walking lunges, that sort of stuff, if I was to do that, especially with the high weights that I was using, the next day I literally couldn't walk. It takes me about 20 minutes to warm up my ankles in the morning to be able to walk down the stairs. So for me to go into the gym and to train hard and heavy at this volume 4 times per week, it requires a lot of an understanding of the injury and also what my body's able to do. So it was great how we kind of planned around that and made it possible, because it would have been so easy to say, oh, my ankle's hurt, I can't do it. But instead to really focus on legs and to make those improvements was a big deal, you know.
Cool. Well, you mentioned the photos, so let's have a look. I'm just going to share my screen. So I'm just going to find the right screen. I think it's that one. Cool. So let's go to the photos first. So so this is about it was about April, wasn't it, when we first started? So this is the first picture you took, and you got better at the selfies along the way, got the right lighting, etc. So that's another skill you developed.
Well, do you know what? I took all the photos in the same changing room quickly after the session, you know, before anyone came in. So the lighting should be the same. Should be.
Cool. So this is the upper body. This is the upper body here. Mentioned about legs. I think we've got a leg picture here, and yeah. So here's the because I think with the first couple of pictures they were sort of upper body, and then so we got to get the legs in. So this is the 9th of May, which is about maybe 3 weeks after we started working together.
Yeah.
There's the legs there, and you can hopefully see there that the legs have indeed got a lot bigger as a percentage of your body there, but also you've gained some mass all across the shoulders, across the chest, and what's really crucial here, because I remember when we were talking, you said you wanted to get to 90 kilos, and we had that discussion about, well, it's easy to get to 90 kilos if you get fat, but if you want to get muscle, we need to do it gradually. And I think the difference here is something like 4 kilos or something weight. We'll have a look in a minute.
Yeah, I think we went from about 81 to about at the peak height of the training with you. When I was kind of, well, I would say bulking, but I know we don't use that word. But at the kind of peak height of the training with you, with the highest amount of calories, I went to about 88. So we were both quite shocked, you know. And I was still staying lean. But it went up a lot, and now it's come back down to about 86 because I'm cutting back the calories in the deficit now.
And then from the back as well, I think this is one of the best sort of shows of progress here, because you were lean already from the back, but now you can see there's a lot more dense muscle there, and you've obviously grown as well, and you've got much more sort of V taper on the back here. And I suppose it's a shame that you had like long bottoms on here. You can't see the legs, because there is another picture that we looked at where you can just literally see the difference between the size. I'm not sure if it's on our library or not, but I mean, you can see that you've packed on a load of muscle, but not compromised your conditioning at all. And I think that's something that is really important for people to remember, is that when they're looking to build muscle, a lot of the time it's like, well, I've got to get fat if I want to build muscle, because you have to be in a calorie surplus, eat loads of food, etc. And we went, well, we want to get big, but we don't want to look fat. So we went an alternate way. And on that, let's talk about the calories, because when we first started working together, tell us how much like carbs and stuff you were eating right at the beginning.
Oh, none. So I had a high protein, at least what I thought was high protein, high fat diet. We've kind of changed what I think is a high protein diet now. So it's high fat, all good food. Like for me personally, I don't enjoy bad food. I'm quite lucky there. You know, since I was younger, I don't enjoy fast food. Like, you know, when I talk about fat, it's things like avocado, olives, olive oil. It's not stuff that's bad for you. So, you know, it's, you know, a typical breakfast for me would be avocado and eggs, and, you know, a protein shake post-workout. I'd rarely have much carbs, you know, maybe 1 carb meal a day. So the big change there was eating lots of carbs, and it was great. You know, I hadn't done that for a long time, so to be you know, shoveling down the rice and the pasta and the spaghetti and the potatoes was awesome. You know, and I found this new, you know, energy from that, which was really cool. And I think my body responded very quickly to it.
Yeah, we can see here, this is the initial sort of first few weeks of working together here. and you can see the sort of the really low food levels. And I think we didn't track right at the beginning. We couldn't track what you were having, obviously pre-working with me. So, but it was low. And then from here, this is sort of the start of it. And you can see your body weight's down here about 82, something like that. And as soon as we started adding more food in, okay, yeah, you gain weight because of more food volume, but then there's more glycogen in the muscles, and then you can train harder, do the volume workouts, and then you can just see it. And what's interesting is the food didn't ramp up like in line with the body weight here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's in the way there, but we can see that this line is pretty standard, around about sort of 3,000 calories, and you just see the change in the body, the weight going up here. But as we've seen from the pictures, there wasn't any like a massive gain of body fat. I think when we got to this apex here, which is what you're talking about, this 87, that's when we decided to sort of rein it in a little bit and just
it was becoming exponential. We were wondering when it was going to stop. I was worried we were going to run out of room on the graph there, but you know,
critical mass attracting things towards you. But then here's the thing: is obviously we dropped calories a little bit, but it wasn't loads. It was just sub 2,000, and then we responded quite quickly coming down. And now we're sitting at this sort of nice sort of condition, which we can see here and also here. Yeah. But in line with where we started, you know, this is 82.5 here. You're now at 80. Was it 86, something like that? Yeah, that's a 4 kilo gain on in the body, but you know, there's no compromise in your conditioning. If anything, from the front there, you're tighter. So, and you can see where all the food's gone, smashed onto the back and onto the legs. So
4 kilograms on the quads.
Yeah, pretty simple. So you also mentioned about obviously in Dubai there's a good social life, and you and your wife enjoy a good social life yourselves. And this is something that, like you said, there's a lot of people who are coaches, whatever. So all know you've got to cut out alcohol and everything else. But obviously you were very insistent from the time that you wanted to still enjoy your social life, and I'm obviously all about that. So we did start tracking alcohol at some point just to make sure it was within decent levels and that you know weren't compromising physique and everything else. Can you tell us a little bit about how you manage your alcohol and your well, that sounds bad, doesn't it? How you manage your alcohol and your food and you know everything else to make sure you're still progressing while enjoying social life?
Yeah, sure. So I guess prior to working with you, I wasn't tracking calories at all. I'd have a rough idea. You know, I might measure it and be like, oh, okay, that's roughly what it is. But you never really know until you measure everything properly. You know, some things you eat, they add an extra 500 calories onto your diet. You don't even realize you're eating over what you should be or under. I think more in my case, it was eating less than I should be to put on muscle. And the same with alcohol, right? You don't realize just how many calories, you know, a meal out and a bottle of wine can add. And I think for us as well, you know, we had a lot of friends and family staying over and visiting, and of course, when people stay over and visit, it's that holiday vibe, and you know, everyone's just enjoying themselves, and because it's every day, then it starts to be like, actually, this is becoming a bit more of a habit, and that's going to affect the amount of calories you have, and so that was why it was really good for me to measure it, because I could have a cap on how much I could have. I could work with it without having to be boring and not join in. Yeah. And I think in terms of tracking it, you know, I wasn't saying no to having a you know a few pints with a family friend, or you know, a bottle of wine and a meal or whatever, because you know the next day I'd have less and I'd plan for it. You know, so one of the things I really liked was how we were banking calories, right? So let's just say I was meant to have 2,600 calories and I went 400 over on one day, so I had 3,000. Well, the next 2 days, because I went 400 over, I just dropped that down by 200. So I have, you know, 2,400 in the next 2 days, and things like that just meant that you didn't feel guilty about enjoying yourself. You were progressing at the same rate you would have, you know, but actually at a better rate, because you knew what was going into your body, and you could plan for it, which is really, really cool. And then it's just like making decent choices, you know, about the types of food or alcohol you want to take into your diet. which I think made a big difference.
Yeah. So, and I suppose this is really crucial because many people sacrifice. They think there's a balance of, oh, you have to sacrifice your social life if you want to have this body, or you have to sacrifice food you like if you want to have this body you want. And you know, I don't want to lead you with answers or whatever, but that didn't seem to be evident at all when we were working together.
Yeah, and this is it. You know, I think halfway through I was just like, this doesn't. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything. In fact, I feel like I'm like lording it up with all these carbs, just loving it. You know. And I remember halfway through, I was just like, you got to speak to my wife because she's like jealous because I'm just enjoying the diet plan so much, you know. So then she got involved as well, which I'm sure you'll have a testimonial from her, no doubt. But yeah, so yeah, it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It didn't feel like a strain. You just felt more confident that you could do what you wanted to do anyway and still make the gains that you want to do. You know, you just felt more organized, and I think the what I love about working with you is when and you know, I know this from the other clients you've worked with as well. Your whole thing is about teaching people the skills they need to go and do it themselves, right? And I was speaking to Jason as well, one of your other clients, about this yesterday, and so many of the things that we've learned from working with you are now just habits.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like tracking calories on Libra on my phone, or measuring how much I burn in the gym and understanding how that works. It's just all habit now. After doing it for 5 months, it feels weird not to log something. If I miss a day, you know, I'm just like, that's weird. You know, so it's just the natural part of understanding what you're putting into your body as part of a healthy lifestyle, which is perfect.
That's great, mate. So what would if you had to pick one thing out which was like the best thing about the program, the thing that's changed your life the most, what would that be?
The thing that's changed, well, I think it's got to be, I think it's got to be the development of those habits, you know, and understanding, because the training I've always you know, been into my training, all that sort of stuff, and I think in the first few weeks I learned the most about the training side of stuff. But it's all the learning from the diet that you've taught me, and the food and the nutrition, and how things change and how you tweak things because you're logging it. So I think just the whole, how easy you've made it to track everything and understand everything is what's made the big difference for me. And that's like I said, just been a very, very easy part, and just now fitting into my normal lifestyle.
And what's next? What's the next? Because, you know, obviously, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. We're never satisfied with. So what's the next thing for you in terms of your physique? Where you'd like to go with that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm what, like 86 calories now. I'd like to drop down just body fat, but stay the same weight, I think. So another 3 months just in a deficit, and just you know, keeping protein high so I don't lose any muscle, and just seeing how lean I can get at staying at this weight, basically. So just working on body composition. I think that's the next goal, you know.
Excellent. Well, and that's interesting, because when we first started working together, the goal was to get to 90 kilos, and over the course of the time, it's now, I just want to look the biggest I am. Is that the weight's not so much the issue now.
Yeah.
The 90 kilos is not so much the issue, although we could still get to that in time, I think.
Yeah, and exactly that, right? I mean, if I was that desperate to get to 90 kilograms, I'd probably do it over the weekend. You know, just you know, just eat as much as possible for 3 days, and I'll probably creep over the 90 kilogram mark. But really, it's, you know, that's the other thing as well. Putting on like 10 kilograms in, well, more than that. I went from 75 to 88 at one point, right? And I was still lean. So putting on about 13 kilograms in 1 year, you'd kind of expect, you know, that because your body's bigger, that you wouldn't be as fit. But I found, because of the measuring with MyZone and stuff, and the focus on the heart rate and the way that the workouts are, like all my workouts are supersets right now.
Yeah.
You know, tough circuits, it's high volume. I'm in the gym an hour and a half to smash through it. Like, I'm fitter than I was before, despite focusing on, you know, on growing muscle, which is quite interesting. Yeah. So but that's it. But 90 kilograms, I'm not really bothered about the weight. It's just more about how you look and how you feel. You know, and now and again, I'll do the odd week where I just focus on strength and then go back to hypertrophy and that sort of stuff.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for coming on. I think we've been about 20 minutes, so maybe cut it there before we both run out of compliments to give each other. So do you want to tell people where they can find you, where they can contact you?
Yeah, just find me on Instagram, just seb.bates on Instagram or Sebastian Bates on Facebook.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for coming on, and I'm sure we'll have a chat in the next week or so.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much, mate.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the interview. I hope you got some information from that which can help you on your own journey. And of course, if you would like to talk to me about becoming a client and getting results similar to Sebastian, maybe you're in a similar situation where you own a lot of businesses, you have a very busy social life, and you just want to make sure you're in the best shape for all those activities, just give me a shout and drop me a message and we'll talk from them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.